So the next question is, if a profile has read access to an object but no access to a field on that object, can the user still see data in reports? Let's try to find out the answer for this. So what we are going to do is, we just created a standard profile. We just clone the standard user profile. And what we are going to do is, we will go to users, and here I'm going to create a new user, okay, which would be our demo user, so that I can use that user to demo whatever we are talking about. And let me keep the same email. All right, and I'm giving the user license as Salesforce. Based on the user license, your profile would be selected. So we have this custom standard user profile which we just created, and it falls under the user license Salesforce. User license Salesforce is the most expensive license, and there are other licenses available. And if you change the license, you would have a different set of profiles. Okay, so going back to Salesforce user license, where you would see the profiles which have the maximum features if you want to enable it. So we'll talk about it. So I'm selecting the profile as custom standard user here, and role is not mandatory to select, so I'm not giving any role as of now. And I'll go ahead and create this user. This is the username. Okay, username cannot be the same, so I'll just modify it. Let me give it demo user security. Okay, and I'll save it. All right, so this is my username. I should remember this one. Let me set up the password and everything for it, and log in with this user. So my demo username, password, everything has been set up, and I have logged in with my demo user as an incognito window, where I can basically give the demo. So let's talk about the scenario which we are discussing over here. And our question is that, if a profile has read access to an object but no access to a field on that object, can the user still see the data in reports? So what we are going to do is, we would be using here in this scenario, create one field in the account object. So account, and add fields in relationship. So here I'm going to set up a new field, and this field is a text field with label as hierarchy code. Okay, and the length could be up to 10 characters, and this is it. Now one thing I want to show you, if I try to make this field required, okay, and I go to next, then at the profile level, by default it would be visible to all the profiles, and I cannot make it read only as well. Okay, that means whenever you set a field as a required field, all the profiles will get a visible as well as editable, that is read as well as edit access to that field. Okay, so let me revert this, and I don't want to make it a required field. If it is not required, then I have to decide which all profiles should have the visibility on this and which profile should not read it. So for now, what I'm doing is that custom standard user and system admin user. These two users will be having the read access to this particular field. Okay, and go click on next and save. All right, so this is done. Next, I go to my incognito window, and here let me create a report. And this report is on, this is a new report, and it's on accounts. I'll start a report, and here I can add the column. So let's say I start adding this hierarchy code. Okay, so I can see hierarchy code for now, and I have added a column for hierarchy code. And when I run this report, at this point I do not have any account because I need to look at the filters. So let me just make it all time and show all the accounts. Okay, so now I can see that I have all these accounts visible, and as well as the hierarchy code, although it is a new field, so I do not have a value for this, but I can still see this field here in the report. Now, as per the question, if I take away the read access from this field, let me go to the user's profile. Okay, and we know we have provided the read access while we create the field. That time only we work on the object field level permission, and we assigned for account object, we assigned read access to this field. So let's see that. So here, when I look at this field hierarchy code, I can see that I have read access as well as edit access on this field. Okay, so let me modify this. So since it is a custom profile, I would be able to modify every feature, and field level permissions, they have basically being set at two places. One, at the time while you are creating the field, as I showed you, and next thing is that you can configure it from here. So when you configure it from here, you are going profile specific, and when you configure it from the object manager while creating your field, that time you are going field specific. Okay, so this time, since I am profile specific, and my field on which I would like to focus on is hierarchy code, so this is the field. I have read as well as edit access. So if I take away read access as well as edit access and save it, okay, so let me wait. Okay, now it is saved. Let's go to the incognito mode and refresh this and start working on the report again. So this time I do not see hierarchy code in my report. So when you come to the profile, the object level permission is basically going to determine what level of access you have on the object, like read, create, edit, or delete. So for example, if I take away the read permission itself from the account object for standard profile, and then let us see what would happen to the report. So what I'm going to take is, I'm taking away the read permission on the account object. Now I already have a report which is on the accounts, and let us see how is it going to look like. So this is saved, and when I go to the report and refresh it, and I want to see my reports, I do not have the permission, then you can see that it throws error saying that we could not complete your operation. Why? Because we could not complete your request. Why? Because I do not have the sufficient privileges. So having no access to the record is the big blocker when you need it, because in this case, you know what, if you go to the app launcher and you start looking for account, even then you don't see it. Okay, we'll talk about it a little later, but this is just for an info. Now if I give the read permission and I save this time, you know, I would be able to at least see the account tab here. So, and I can even open that report. So I have given the read access, and this time when I try, at least I can see the accounts. So let's open one of the account, let's say this edge communication, and see how the other permissions behave here. So I'll go to this account tab. Now since I have the only read permission, no other permission is there, so I do not see the new button here. I cannot create a new account. But the moment I go here and change the profile permission and add one more permission, that is to create it, in that case what would happen is, so create permission is now added, and now what would happen is I can see the new button which was not there before. Okay, so now I can create a new account, and let's say I say this is a test account. Okay, then once I create this test account record, I do not see any option to modify this further. If I added any detail, and let's say I later want to add the phone number, I am not able to edit this record. Why? Because I do not have edit permission on the account. So let me assign myself this edit permission to the profile, and once I do that, this is when I can basically, everything would change for me, and now I can, let me wait for that to save. Okay, this is saved. Now if I refresh, now I can see the edit option, so that allows me to edit the account, but I still do not see the delete option. So if I go back here and I select delete as well, now what it would do is, this would enable one more option which I don't see it yet, and that is to delete this particular record. So now I have the option to delete this record. Okay, now if I look at this profile, there are few more options which are there under the object permission, and let's talk about them as well. One is view all record, and what it does is, let me just take away all the permissions. Now when I click on view all record, I would be having entire 100% access to all the accounts in the org. Nothing in this org on the account level can be hidden from the read access from me. Now, these kind of permissions like view all record is generally given to the auditors. Okay. Now, there is another permission which says modify all record. Again, it is a very big permission and it is generally given to the administrator. And when you assign this permission to the profile, the user can not only see the existing records but also can modify them. Okay. With modify all records, you can disable the create permission, but no other permission can be disabled. Okay, and then there is another permission which says view all fields. So when you say view all fields, then it will basically open up the field level permissions. Now, if I open up the field level permissions, but I do not set any read, create, edit, delete, in that case, I still do not see or I still do not have access to the object itself. So at this time, what I'm doing is on the profile level, I am enabling view all fields permission. And when I do so, I go back here and I try to visit this record and it says that I cannot see it. Why? Because at least I should have read permission. So what I'm going to do is I will enable the read permissions, and let's say I take away the read access and the edit access. Okay. And if I give view all fields, then by default, the read access would be enabled for all the fields of this object. So this is how they all are working in conjunction with each other. Now at the profile level, if I open up all the permission, read as well as edit for the fields as well as for object, then I would be having all the level of permissions for this object, and I can do whatever I want on the object only for those records which are visible to me. So at this point, I have the full permissions on the object as well as fields. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away the permissions for rating. Okay. So at this point, I can see rating in the layout. I can see hierarchy code as well in the layout. Now what I'm going to do is in here, I am keeping it view all as well as modify all, but I'm taking away field level permission. Now this is something I really want to highlight. Some of you guys are confused most of the time. Some of you are confused most of the time that if view all and modify all is there, do I need to explicitly give field permission or not? So I'm going to cover that scenario where you have view all, modify all, but what is happening here is I have taken away the permission for rating. I'm neither giving the read access nor I'm giving the edit access, and for the hierarchy code, I am taking away only and only the edit access. Although I have modify all record, but at the field level, I'm not giving edit access. So what happens in that case? Let us cover it. Okay, so while I am saving it, I have view all record enabled, I have modify all record enabled. Okay, but for one of the field, which is hierarchy code, I have taken away the edit access, and for another field which is rating, I have taken away the read as well as I have taken away the edit access. So let me refresh this and see if we would see the rating here or not. So when I refresh, rating is auto gone. Rating won't be displayed here because this user do not have the edit access. And when I come to hierarchy code, it would be displayed as logged. So if I edit it, I won't be able to modify the hierarchy code. Here I won't be able to add any modification, although I have modify all record permission, but still field level access has its own value. Okay, field level access value is not gone yet. Fine. So this is important and I wanted to cover this scenario. And the reason I switched from Lightning to Classic, because Classic changes reflects quickly. In Lightning, it takes a little while. So I switched from Lightning to Classic. We have found the answer to that question. And the answer is that reports, they respect the field level permissions. And if the field level permission is not available, that particular field won't be visible, but the entire report would be there. And if you take away the read permission for the object, in that case, the report itself won't be visible. Okay. And again, we have discussed in detail about the object level permission, where we covered create, read, edit, delete, view all, modify all, and view all fields one by one. Okay. And we also talked about field level security, and we have shown that even you have modify all and view all at your profile, still field level security has its own importance. Okay. And now we are going to move to the next one.